Hey guys, welcome back to the Jays for Now podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the college football playoffs. We'll start today. A couple of games. We got Penn State, Boise State. We also got Texas and Arizona State coming on tomorrow in the Peach Bowl, which we play here in Atlanta, and Ohio State, Oregon as well at 5 o'clock tomorrow Eastern time. And then for the Sugar Bowl, we have Georgia and Notre Dame. So I'm going to be previewing all those games, giving my predictions for each one. And talking about what teams need to do on both sides to ensure that they can get a victory and move on to the next round of the college football playoffs. But before you do that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Check us out here on YouTube, Jay's Fifth Down. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, or X as it's called now, TikTok, and you can check us out there. Also, you can follow our audio version of the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just look up Jay's Fifth Down, ! And you can find us there. So first game up, Penn State and Boise State. Of course, this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Now, a lot of people are favoring Penn State in this game, and, it would favor that way, right? They've got a really good team, and James Franklin is really looking to put that narrative away that he can't win big games at Penn State. He hasn't been successful in doing so, but he's looking to get his team to the next round, against Boise State. And I think, they have a good chance of doing that, and this is a Boise State team on the other side of the football that they, of course, Ashton Jeanty, Heisman runner-up, finished with 244 carries, 2,497 yards, 29 touchdowns. A lot of people thought he should have been the Heisman over Travis Hunter, but he didn't win the award, but he was a runner-up. He had an amazing season. Averaged almost like 200 yards a game, it seemed like. And Matson, though, I want to give some credit to. Now, he's been a solid quarterback for Boise State as well. And he hasn't been asked to do a whole lot because of the way Jeanty has been playing for them. And Matson finished the year with 2,700 yards, 2,714 yards, 22 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Hasn't turned the ball over a lot. They haven't asked too much of him, but he's been able to run the offense and command it like a good quarterback is supposed to, and he's been doing a good job of that. And I like the way that he's been playing. So I think the big key for Penn State, though, defensively is that, you got to slow down Ashton Jeanty. They're going to try to get him going early on the ground, and you got to slow it down as best you can. You're not going to stop him, but, you're going to have to figure out a way to slow him down. And that's the only way. I think if they can do that defensively. On the offensive side of football, Penn State is really talented. Drew Allar, the quarterback, he's very good. And in their win over SMU, he made a lot of good plays, especially moving outside the pocket with his legs. He's able to extend a lot of possessions with his legs, getting those first downs, running when the throw was not there, and not just turning it over. He was able to pick up some positive yards. And I think Ashton Jeanty, even though he should have won, or a lot of people think he should have won the Heisman. He had a great year, but he's going to be key for Boise State as well. If they can get the ball to him and they're able to get him going, then that will help their offense out. But if Penn State is able to stop them, if they can slow down the run, and if they can continue to run the offense that they've been able to do, get the ball to their tight ends and get the ball, sustain those long possessions, try to keep their defense off the field for as less as possible, then I think they have a good chance to win that game. So it should be a good matchup either way. Does Boise State have a chance to upset? Maybe. It's not very likely, but it's a chance they can upset Penn State. It will definitely be a really intriguing matchup for sure. That game's going to be at 7:30 tonight. Then tomorrow you got Texas and Arizona State in the Peach Bowl, which is, again, going to be here in Atlanta at 1 o'clock. Texas finished at number 3 this year. They lost to Georgia in the SEC championship, so they're looking to bounce back in this matchup against Arizona State. I think Texas has this game. I think they're going to come out better than what they did against Georgia. I think Quinn Ewers is going to come out looking a little bit better than he did against Georgia. A lot of talk about him possibly transferring to another school, or, because chances are he's not going to go to the NFL draft. Where it is, he's going to stay one more year in college football, which I think would probably be best for him. I think he needs to put another year of tape out there where he can get a consistent, where he can improve on the areas that he needs to improve on. And that way he'll be ready when he goes to the NFL draft. I think Quinn Ewers had a great season, but I just don't think he's NFL ready yet. But I think Texas overall has a good chance. I think if they come out there and attack like they did Georgia offensively against Arizona State, whose defense is not that great, then they have a high chance of winning this matchup for sure. And like I said, it all points down to, can Texas limit the turnovers? Though they got to be able to limit turnovers. Quinn Ewers cannot turn the football over. They can't fumble. They can't throw interceptions. And you got to sustain those offensive possessions in the 3 points or a touchdown. Arizona State is one of those teams. If you give them those windows of opportunity, just if it's a little window, they can get you. And I think it's going to be key for Steve Sarkisian and his offensive staff to make sure that they get Quinn Ewers and the offense in a good position. Get the ball to your playmakers. Get the ball out quick. Screen game worked good for them against Georgia. Georgia couldn't really stop it. Working middle of the field also seemed to both successful for Texas. So if they can work those areas of the field against Arizona State, I think that should help them. Well, it'll give them a good chance tomorrow in the Peach Bowl. And then moving on to our next game, Ohio State and Oregon, which is the one everybody's talking about. Ryan Day, this is I think the game for his job. If he loses this game against Oregon, more likely than not, he'll get fired. He has been able to win big games at Ohio State, and that's been the notion around him, is that he's not been successful doing that. So he'll have a chance against the number 1 Oregon tomorrow. Dylan Gabriel and that high potent attacking offense at Oregon is going to be very lethal. And I think for Ohio State, they're going to have to get the ball out to Jeremiah Smith and their playmakers. Common Court, they're going to have to, I'm not Common Court, their quarterback, they're going to have to do a better job of sustaining those long offensive possessions and getting the ball out quick. And defensively, you just got to keep everything in front of you. They're going to make their plays. Oregon is a very talented team, and so is Ohio State. So this should be a very interesting matchup. I'm just really looking forward to see how both of these coaches, Dan Lanning for Oregon and then Ryan Day and his staff for Ohio State, how do you play the long game? How are you able to avoid those third and long situations? Staying on the field on third down, do not punt the ball. You can't let the crowd get into it if you're either offense right now. And those are going to be my big takeaways, my big keys and predictions for this game. So I'm going to give my predictions for each game, when I'm done. But last game up here is Georgia Notre Dame. Carson Beck is hurt, and he's not going to play in this game. He's out. He's looking forward to the NFL draft right now, and so Gunnar Stockton is going to be the starter, more likely than not, for Georgia. And if you think about it, really, Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck aren't too different from each other. They play very similarly, and they're going to be asked to do some of the similar things. Obviously, Stockton is not going to be asked to do everything Beck was able to do, because he doesn't have the playing time and the experience to do so, because he hasn't played much this year. But in that game against Texas, when he came in and led those drives, he did pretty good and led them down to score. So they like what they have in Gunnar Stockton, as a backup, and now he's getting his chance to start. My apologies for that, guys. So as I was saying, I think Gunnar Stockton is going to be a key for Georgia. He's going to have to be able to not let the pressure get to him, get the ball out quick. Offensive line is going to look forward to this game because they get to go off the football. They're going to try to establish a run game there. So if they're Georgia, and if you're Notre Dame, do what's gotten you here, right? Don't change up now. You're playing against Georgia, yeah, but don't change what's gotten you success, what's gotten you to this point, what's gotten you the 5th ranking in the country in this playoff. I think that's going to be very important for Notre Dame here, to establish the tone early, get out there, be physical on defense. You're going to have to hit Georgia where, hit them in the mouth, and then offensively, Georgia's defense is not as good as it's been in the past couple of years. They have vulnerable spots that you can attack, particularly the middle of the field, is what I was noticed when watching the SEC championship game when they were playing against Texas. That's where Texas was throwing the ball a lot in the middle of the field, those crossing routes. The screen game was working for them here and there. So I think Notre Dame, for them, just get the ball out fast to your offensive guys, your stars, establish a ground game, chew that clock, keep Georgia's offense off the field. And then once that lead builds up, you're going to put more pressure on Gunnar Stockton. And now he's going to have to be able to respond to that, and that's going to be a hard thing to do for a quarterback that hasn't seen much playing time in college. So this is a big matchup, and it'll be really interesting to see which way it goes. So now I'm going to give my predictions for each game. I got Penn State winning against Boise State. I say about 24-17. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I think it's going to be very centered on the ground game, which team in limiting the turnovers, whoever limits their turnovers has the least amount of those is going to win this football game. Texas and Arizona State, same kind of deal. Texas is going to score a little bit more. I say 35-20. I think Arizona State, gets on the board a couple of times, but in the end, the talent on the Longhorns will be too much for him. Quinn Ewers is going to have a good day. He's going to come out there, and I think he's going to be motivated, especially after his performance. Even though he didn't play horrible against Georgia, he could have played better. And then watching that tape and having the time off, I think he's going to come out there with the mindset that, hey, I'm going to lead this offense. We're going to keep the football in our possession. We're not going to turn it over. I'm going to make the right throws when they're there, make the right reads. So for the Peach Bowl, got Texas winning that 35-20. Ohio State and Oregon. This game is this is a tough one, but I got to go with Oregon, man. I don't think Ohio State's gonna. I just don't think they have it in their gene to win these type of big games. Yeah, they made it to the playoffs. They're here, but I just think at the end of the day, Oregon's talent offensively will be too much for them to handle on the defense side of football for Ohio State. And Ryan Day, like I said earlier, he just has not been able to win those big type of games. So this is and this being an atmosphere where he has the pressure to put on him to do it, it's not going to make it any easier. So I have Oregon winning this matchup 42-30. 42-30 is my final prediction for Ohio State and Oregon. That'll pretty much wrap us up, guys, for today's episode. Like I said, this is all New Year's Eve into New Year's Day. Football starts tonight. Like I said, Penn State, Boise State, 7:30 p.m. Ashton Jeanty on one side, Drew Aller in the Penn State Nittany Lions. They have a weird mascot name. It's a weird name. But anyway, so the Boise State Broncos, man, we'll see what they can do. They've been riding high all year. It's finished 12-1 on the season. They're Ashton Jeanty, he's going to be running angry because he didn't win the Heisman. So we'll see how he attacks the field and how Penn State's going to be prepared for him. But thank you guys for tuning in to today's episode. We appreciate it as always. You can find out more on our Instagram, TikTok page, Twitter as well, Jay's Fifth Down Pod. Have a bunch of reels, all that good stuff for you. So make sure you check it out. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Jay's Fifth Down ! You can search us up there, hit that follow button, turn the post notifications on so you know when we post an episode. You're driving, working out, whatever you want to listen to the audio version. You can't watch it. There you go. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, hit that subscribe button right in the corner of your screen. And we'll see you next time on the show. Thank you for watching.